Have you ever wondered when you open your laptop what exactly is happening behind the scenes? You open Chrome, play music on Spotify, write code in VS Code all at the same time. How does that even work? Today, we are going to answer exactly that. We are going to understand how an operating system works from the very beginning. Let's get started. An operating system is a software layer that sits between your hardware and your application. Think of it like a hotel manager. The hotel has rooms, elevators, and staff. That's your hardware. The guests want rooms, food, and Wi Fi. Those are your apps. The manager takes requests, allocates resources, makes sure no guest disturbs another. That's exactly what your OS does. Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Android, all of these are operating systems. Now imagine there is no OS. Every app would have to directly talk to the hardware. Chrome would need to know how your specific RAM chips work. Spotify would need to control the CPU itself. And if two apps try to access the same resource at the same time, total chaos. The OS brings order. It acts as a middleman, structured, fair, and safe. Without it, your computer is just raw hardware with no coordination. So, let's understand what exactly does an OS do. It has four core responsibilities. 1. Process management. 2. Memory management. 3. Device management. And 4. File system management. We are going to look at each of these one by one. These four things are what your OS is doing every single second in the background. Let's start with process management. A process is simply a running program. Now, your CPU can do only one thing at a time, but you are running 10 apps simultaneously. How? The OS is constantly switching between processes so fast that it feels like everything is running at once. This is called scheduling. The OS also decides which process gets the CPU next and for how long. And if one app crashes, the OS isolates it, stops it cleanly, so your other apps are completely unaffected. Now, if you want to understand exactly how CPU execute these processes under the hood, I have already made a detailed video on how CPU works. I will put the link in the cards above. Go check it out. Next key responsibility is memory management. Every app that runs needs RAM, but RAM is limited. So, the OS decides how much memory each app gets and when to take it back. More importantly, it isolates memory. App A cannot read app B's memory and vice versa. This is what keeps your data safe. And when your RAM is completely full, OS has a trick. It temporarily moves some data to disk. This is called virtual memory. It gives apps the illusion of having more memory than physically exists. If you want to understand the difference between different kinds of memory in detail, I have already covered that topic in a separate video. I will put the link in the cards above. Now, let's talk about device management. You have a keyboard, mouse, printer, a disk. Each one speaks a completely different language. The OS uses something called drivers to communicate with each device. Think of a driver as a translator. Apps just say, print this document. They don't care which printer you have, which brand, which model. The OS and the driver handles all of that. And when you plug in a new USB, OS detects it, loads the right driver, makes it available instantly. The fourth core responsibility of OS is file system. Without a file system, your disk would just be a massive sea of zeros and ones, completely unreadable. The OS organizes all of that into files and folders, a structure you can navigate and search. It also controls permissions. Not every app can read or write every file. Your personal files are protected, and different operating systems use different kinds of file system, each with their own rules for organizing data. Let's summarize everything that we have learned today. An operating system is the invisible layer that sits between your applications and hardware and lets your application make use of the hardware. It manages processes so multiple apps can run at once. It manages memory so every app gets its fair share safely. It manages devices so apps don't need to know hardware details. It manages your file system so data is organized and protected. Every second you use your computer, your OS is doing all of this silently in the background. That's it for today. I hope you could get a fair understanding of how operating systems work. And if you have any questions or if you want me to cover any other topic, please drop a comment below. If this video was helpful, please give it a like and subscribe for more such content. See you in the next one.